everybody, this is Justin, your friendly neighborhood metalhead for this day in metal. I apologize, my video camera is not working, so you'll just get to look at our lovely guest, David Cabezas of the awesome band Madzilla. So how are you doing today, David?
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm really happy to be here today.
Nice. So we're going to interview, talk about kind of the band's history, talk about some of your recent tour stuff, and kind of the new album, A Deadly Threat, that just came out, I believe, at the beginning of the month, correct? Remember the date right?
Yes.
Sweet,
Yes,
awesome.
March 1st.
March. All right, sweet. So let's start with the basics. How did Madzilla officially form?
All right. Well, we started in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, what happened is I had a bunch of songs that I had written just for me because I had been in like several bands in the past, but I had never really found a band that actually had the style that I liked and that I, felt comfortable playing. And so I just started writing songs just for me, just as kind of like a hobby or whatnot. And then when I had like 4 or 5 songs, and I went to the recording studio to record them, to have them. And I had a buddy that worked at a recording studio, so he gave me a pretty good rate. And then when we recorded, he's the one that told me, man, these songs are cool. You should put together a band and actually start playing this live and whatnot. And that and that was like basically what made me want to do it. And so I started recruiting musicians, and I actually found our bass player Daniel. I found him on Craigslist. One of those things that it's like there were a million ads, and then the one that said "I play metal" was Daniel. And so it's the one that I responded to, and I mean, we clicked right away. And Daniel was friends with Luis, our drummer, and so he brought him in, and then we started playing, we started doing shows and whatnot. So I mean, in 2018 it's kind of like when I recruited the members, and then in 2019 we actually started playing out.
Okay, that makes sense. And then your new album just dropped at the beginning of this month. And what has kind of been the response to the record so far? And what did you want to do differently than your debut?
Um, that's a really good question. Yeah, okay, so it dropped on March 1st. So far it's been really good because we went on tour supporting Max Cavalera's new project, Go Ahead and Die. So we started the tour on March 1st on release day.
Oh, okay.
And so we did a couple of weeks. We just finished. And so it was really good because we played a lot of the songs that are on the new album. We played them live, and people seemed to respond really well, and we sold a bunch of like hard copies. And I mean, it's so far so good.
That's good.
And okay, I want to answer the other questions. What's different now than in earlier albums? I think it's the thing is, like, we like to challenge ourselves a lot when we write and when we play. And like, I mean, my wife makes fun of me because I push myself to the limits all the time. Like I wake up at 4 in the morning, so I have a few more hours to practice before the day starts. And our drummer Luis, he's exactly the same. Like we feel wrong when we're not playing. It's like if I'm at the grocery store shopping, it's like I'm not getting better right now. You know what I mean? And so I think the difference between the first couple albums and this album is that we've been practicing so much more, and we have a lot better chemistry within the members of the band now, and we've played so many more shows, we've toured several times. So I think basically the biggest thing is that we're more mature, and so I think that translates into the record in musical terms. But then the other thing is that this album is the first time that I tried doing something a little bit more like a kind of like a concept album.
Okay.
It's not entirely that, because like the key signatures and tempos and all that, like every song stands on its own. The only thing is that if you listen to the album from beginning to end in the order that it's laid out, it'll tell you a story. And like the lyrics tell you a story. And so it's built like the heavier songs or the fastest songs are more like moments of the story that are more intense, and then the softer moments are like the chill moments of the story that we're telling.
Nice. Well, that's a cool concept. I didn't find anything about that as a concept album, so that's completely new to me. So that's kind of definitely a fun thing to learn, and makes you want to now re-listen to the album and like, oh, I see what you mean. I see like you're telling a movie like a score almost throughout the entire thing. So I love that
Yeah,
idea.
pretty much.
That's cool. I did notice with the new record, you definitely pushed yourself a lot more vocally. That you're doing a lot. You're like your vocals are stronger. You're belting a lot more. Was there any inspiration that made you want to push yourself vocally, or it just kind of came naturally?
Uh, I, I think it's a little bit of both. The thing is, first off, I've been taking vocal lessons for the last couple years,
Hmm.
and so that's definitely part of the improvement. And the other thing is that, like, I mean, when I started the project, I'm I've always been a lot more of a guitar player than a singer.
Hmm.
But it's one of those things that like someone has to sing,
Hmm.
and I don't want to have a singer, so I'll
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was kind of like my idea, and so for the longest time it was I'm the guy who sings,
Hmm.
and that's it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And but the more I keep doing this, and the better I've gotten at it, and I mean the more I practice and whatnot, I've I think I've noticed that vocals are such a crucial part of everything.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that made me rethink everything, and actually that's why I started taking vocal lessons a couple of years ago, and I have not stopped because
Hmm.
I want to get better. I want to sing better. I want every show to be better than the previous show, and a lot of that comes with good vocals. Like I've been to a lot of shows of bands that I really like, and the singer is not what he used to be like 20 years ago. And it, as much as I like the band and I like the songs and I like everything that's going on, it's like it's something's
Yeah.
missing. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah. I agree with
Uh,
that.
yeah,
But
so it's basically that. Like I want to push myself in every way, and singing is part of it. And so that's why this record has a lot more vocal technique.
yeah, because we all want to have that impressive vocal. It's like Rob Halford, who's what 70 something and still sounds like he's 18. Like every vocalist wants that goal of like the immortal voice that doesn't age, that kind of thing. So I completely get the vocal practice, emphasizing what you want to say with more oomph, more power, more range, all that kind of stuff. So that's completely understandable on that. And then you just wrapped up with you mentioned earlier, you wrapped up your tour with Go Ahead and Die, which is Max's side project. And then you've also worked with Soulfly in the past, opening, I can't remember the name of the festival, I apologize for that, where you were opening for Judas Priest. And I want to say it was either Saxon or one other band on the festival. But how did you kind of hook up with Max? Like, did he discover your music? Did you reach out to him? How did that whole process go?
um, with Max, the thing is, the first tour we did as Madzilla was with Soulfly.
Okay.
And that was at the beginning of 2020, right before the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I think, February of 2020, like early February.
Mm-hmm.
And we did 7 shows with them, 7 or 8, I can't remember, in the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we met Max,
Mm-hmm.
actually. And I mean, the thing is that we work with a booking agency.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Metal Music Bookings.
Mm-hmm.
They're based out of the UK, and so they're really really good. They've helped us greatly throughout our entire career so far, and they are the ones that helped us get in contact with Max's management back in 2020, and then the pandemic happened, and And yeah, that festival that you're talking about is called Warlando. It was the
Thank you.
first thing we did when the world reopened.
Hmm.
That was September of 21. Um, and there was, yeah, it was Judas Priest. It was Sabaton actually.
Sabaton, thank you. That was close.
Yeah, yeah. It was Sabaton and yeah, and Soulfly. And it
Mhm.
was fun. It was really fun because when we toured with Soulfly in the past, Mark Rizzo was the lead guitar
Mhm.
player.
Yeah, I remember
And
Mark.
I mean, we love that guy since the El Nino days.
Hmm.
He's so cool.
Yeah.
But then at Warlando, Dino Cazares was the lead guitar player on. I think on the tour they were doing at the
Yeah,
time,
I think he was filling in at the time. Yeah.
yeah, he was filling in. So it was really cool to see him with
Mhm.
Soulfly. It was mesmerizing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then things kept moving, and now yeah, we just did a tour with Max's side project, which I mean we're really liking. It's the heaviest thing I've seen.
Yeah. It's definitely almost a return to form of like the early Sepultura, but even like more crossover hardcore thrash here, which I'm totally
Yeah, yeah,
digging.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
love the new album. The new album was really good too. And
Yeah, me
then
too. It's awesome.
yeah, and then you mentioned kind of your first post-pandemic, or the first concert back was the Orlando Fest. What did it feel like after kind of, because I know from my research you guys were kind of writing the record during the pandemic. How did it kind of feel to like hit the stage, see the crowd of people, and like I'm home, like I'm back, I'm happy doing this? What was that kind of feeling going through you as that moment happened?
Oh man, it's hard to put in words because I mean it really feels like we're doing what we were put in this world to do, when
Yeah.
we're on stage. It's where we feel the most comfortable. Which is weird.
No,
It's like
yeah.
you should feel comfortable, like when you're sitting at home watching TV eating pizza or whatnot, but like to me it's the most comfort I ever feel is on stage. And I think the biggest reason for that is that I feed off the crowd so much.
Hmm.
The energy that's back and forth and whatnot. It's that nothing compares to that.
Hmm. Definitely one of those. It's hard to beat that feeling, that emotion, that kind of thing. And I know people during the pandemic did like Twitch streams and virtual concerts, but knowing you as a musician, you probably say like it's there, but it's not. It's
Yeah,
not the same. It's so hard to get that same feeling. So, I mean, I
right.
think you were the first musician I've asked that. That was like, well, what did it feel like when you hit the stage and you're like, I can see people, I can interact, I can feel the crowd, I can feel the music. It's this that like I'm home, like you said, it's like I was made to do this. I'm happy to be back and doing all this music again in front of people, not just a screen, like
Yeah, not
actual
a screen.
people.
Exactly. I could not agree more.
Yeah. I did have one more question on the new album. You did an acoustic cover, or not acoustic cover, an acoustic version of the song "Silent Assassin." And I was kind of curious, what did you guys decide? Like, I want to do this acoustic, or was there a reason for that, or just I wanted to do it?
Um, I mean, one of the reasons, there were several, but one of the reasons is that I we've rarely played Silent Assassin live.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've played it a couple times, but not that much.
Mm-hmm.
And one there was this one show here in Vegas where after the show, someone came over. He came to the merch table, and he was talking to me about it, and he was saying like that one is my favorite Madzilla song.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you play it more often? Like I want to hear more of it. Like, and
Mm-hmm.
and I like that had never even crossed my mind that would be because like on the Asphyxiating Cries record, Silent Assassin is like track number 6.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It was never one of the main singles. It was
Mm-hmm.
one more single,
Yeah.
and it's one of those things that when you're writing a song, you're not really thinking. I mean, if you are thinking that, then it may not turn out well. But you're not. Normally when when the single of the album
Yeah.
actually comes, you're not thinking this is going to be the single. I'm going to write the main single right now.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be the best solo, the best riff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just happens. You know, you're just a lot of the best riffs that I've ever written just came out of like me noodling with the guitar here, like blah 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 blah. Oh, hey, that was cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, and I think that was kind of the thing with Silent Assassin, that we wrote it and we recorded it and we were happy with what it was, but it never even crossed my mind that it could be like a catchy song, or
Yeah.
you know, something that people could relate to lyrically or anything like that. And when that happened that day, it shocked me.
Mm-hmm.
And and that's kind of like what sparked to that. Maybe we should do a little more with it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do you plan to do it more on like future set lists, or is it still kind of like the maybe once in a while, or you'll play the acoustic version, or just out of curiosity?
We have been talking, like in this last tour, it wasn't really a good idea because Go Ahead and Die is so heavy that, you know, we played the heaviest stuff we have.
Yeah.
You know, but it's funny that you mentioned this, because on this last tour, like this is last week.
Yeah.
We were driving, I can't remember, like one of the longest drives. I think it was like driving to Seattle. And we were listening to the album because he had just dropped, you know, so like we were listening on repeat, like, yeah, the album's out. And when that track came on, Daniel, the bass player, he kept he kept pushing the idea of like, we have to play this, like we have to play this version. And it's like, but it's like, when, you know, like what moment of the set list can we go so quiet, you know? And then so the idea that we've been talking about is maybe we can start the song with the acoustic version and then go into the heavy version.
That's a good idea.
So that's what we are thinking. We've never actually done it, not even at rehearsal. So we'll see if it actually happens, but it is in the plans for the future.
That's good to hear for anybody that's a fan of the song. Because both versions are good, but I love the idea of the slow transition to like the somber acoustic into the super shredding, like melt your face mentality. So I love that idea.
Right.
And it like you said, it could work for like the heavy crowd. It could work for the audience of a lighter crowd. So either one could transition and work well. So.
Right. That we always try and fit the set list the best we can to, you know, where we are and who we're playing with, and you know what the circumstances are. Like for example, this last Go Ahead and Die tour, we played all our heaviest songs, you know, and like so it depends on, you know, what the circumstances are. Then, you know, it would be fitting to play it or not.
Yeah. It makes sense. Okay. And then the last question I have is, I always end interviews with just kind of this fun, simple one, is what are some bands or albums that either you're digging, the band's digging, that maybe people should check out, or maybe fans of Madzilla should check out? It could be either classic albums, it could be independent stuff, just whatever you're jamming, you want to promote. Here's your stage for that, I guess.
Gojira. Go listen to Gojira, man. Like those dudes are like, it's mesmerizing to hear them.
Yeah. That'd be a t-shirt, by the way.
Thanks.
Oh, do you have a favorite album or song you recommend, or just everything in general? Just
everything Gojira, man. Like, like we've been blasting Gojira all through like the last tour, like through the drives. It's been like Gojira on repeat.
Oh.
But I do like Born for One Thing.
Good.
It's a really cool song, and I like the concept of like, you know, we were born to just die.
Yeah.
You know?
So metal.
Yeah, it's so dark. Yeah, I like it when bands are able to do this whole, like, keep it heavy, keep it powerful, but at the same time have you know, technicality, you know, because it's really difficult to do that. To, you know, when you go a little bit too technical, the heaviness tends to disappear. and Gojira have found a way of like it's balls heavy always, but
Oh yeah.
it's not easy to play.
Oh God, no, yeah. I mean, it's the same thing with like Archspire and death metal, where it's just the
Yeah,
intricacy of that. Or last year, I got introduced to Flesh God Apocalypse, of just that heavy brutality, but then you add that symphonic, operatic grandiosity. You're like, what the hell am I listening to? But I'm so enthralled at the same time. It's just
yeah.
it,
I hear
it's
you,
that
man.
it's that same thing with Gojira. I had that with Meshuggah when I first heard the opening to Rational Gaze, and that like chugging noise. It was like, what the heck am I listening to? And I bet that's the same way when you heard Gojira. It's like, what is this? Like, I need more of this. I need all of the records now, kind of thing. So,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's yeah, can't get enough.
well, it seems like if the way you're blaring it and listening to it more, I'm curious if the next record you do will be a little more Gojira inspired, or if you're going to stick to the sound you have.
Well, every door is open, man.
Oh. All right. Well, thank you, David, for giving us the time to interview you. You guys just finished the Go Ahead and Die tour. The new album is out. If you It's on the streaming services. If you want to buy it, you guys can check it out on the guys' website. Definitely, I appreciate the time. I apologize for the video quality. Usually it works. I don't know why today. Maybe Madzilla got to me and destroyed it. I don't know, but I appreciate the time, and thank you, David, for the talk, and good luck to the future and many heavier performances and all that stuff. So
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to have been here.
thanks a lot. You have a good night, David.
You too.
All right, bye.